Gravity explanation of. It's a surface turning inside out. The logic I'm applying is that if you have a sphere and you have a surface on the inside, you measure that inside surface. If you measure the outside surface, it'll be bigger. And my conjecture into the world of quantum here is there a thickness that you can't go beyond? Can you see? I have a sphere on the inside, a sphere on the outside must be bigger. How thin, if that line doesn't even exist in terms of its a measurable dimension in space, that effect will still exist. Taking that conjecture, taking that logic, and applying it to positive and negative spaces, the flower of life, you're seeing spheres of energy and the surface tension that's created when you compress them together, and that the petals represent the energy within the surface tension. Terence is incorrect that there are no straight lines in nature. There is a force of a straight line between the 2 points of the petal, and that is an actual surface made from an actual material, because it has an elastic and a plastic strength, an EI. So if something has an EI, it has a stiffness. If something has a stiffness, it exists. So this is the beginning of existence, is on the outside of a sphere. There is motion at the centre, as proven by Dr. Lebesgue in 1915, the nuclear force. Come back to it. There's motion at the centre, and that causes an expansive force, and that turns the surface, tries to expand the sphere of energy, of light that's been created. It can't, because there's nowhere to go. It's too dense. So the surface turns inside out, which is the motion of expansion, but it can't move anywhere. It just repeats itself, goes round and round. Gravity exists on the outside of the surface because there is not sufficient energy to sustain a dimension of the expanded light. There is a contractive and an attractive force on the outside of that sphere, and that's called gravity. That is replicated at each molecule that is created of us, of matter, and is created on the outside in terms of the collapsing light that we see in the spheres around us. The system that is of that system that I've created, I've demonstrated by taking the single assumption that the sun is the centre of mass. Now you can see it requires an explanation of the nuclear force. The nuclear force is two dimensions rotating around each other. The meter and the second, the bigness and the smallness. How big can something be? How small can something be? The 2 meter gain at the centre. They must both exist. If something exists, it must be both big and small. Theory of relativity, something is bigger than something else, then something is smaller than something else if something exists. If there is 1, there is 2, there must be 3. And it's the 3-body problem. Moon, Earth, Sun. The Earth is the only sphere that doesn't collapse. All other information in light that we see is a collapsed sphere. The sphere is around us, it is collapsed. The collapse mechanism takes a duration. The duration is sustained by the momentum of the planet, and we see it as points of light on a flat plane. On a rotating, anti-clockwise rotating flat plane is our observation of our universe around us. We don't collapse because we are the momentum of the planet. The nuclear force is a heartbeat. Our heartbeat, the heartbeat of everything that's alive, is the nuclear force. It's just translated at the dimensional bound of meters squared per second squared. If you have bigness and smallness, you have area of bigness and smallness. You can't have a meter bigger than a second. You must have a meter squared per second. You have a solid. Something is so tiny that it's actually solid. that it doesn't have a radius. It only has a surface area. That's a solid piece of matter. That's what you are. You are solid. You're real. You're really made of matter. This stuff. As your surface is turning inside out, we're creating the gravity, the atmosphere, and the matter, the dimensional boundaries in our breath. As we breathe in, we change the surfactant layer in our alveoli, we expand, the surface tension changes, the energy is translated into us, and that energy has a heartbeat, a pulse. Dr. Victor Leve, 1915, AB 14. It's really fast. It's translated through to a heartbeat via the damping muscles from the lung to the heart until it's a steady boom, 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 boom. And we have the energy in our heartbeat, in our life. If we add positivity to that rhythm and we do it all together, our hearts will beat together. Our hearts will beat together with the planet. And that's gravity. So you understand gravity, you understand everything. C squared equals meter squared over second squared. Follow the Rebel King.